You know when you don't do that with players is when you so badly overpay them. And I've told you this story of the number of players we overpaid where they didn't even visit the city. They don't meet with the owner. They don't care about anything. I would like all of us to picture right now Luis Severino's negotiation with the Aths. You see, the Aths signed Luis Severino yesterday to a 3-year contract for $67 million. It can't be true. It can't be. He was given a qualifying offer for 21, turned it down, got a 3-year deal at 22, 22.3, really. Not a 1-year deal at 21. This is Luis Severino. Good bounce back year. Had a good year. No question about it. His stuff can be filthy and nasty. Let's tell the story about why the Aths signed Luis Severino and why they chose him to be the face of now what is the biggest contract ever given by the franchise. And I don't mean the Sacramento Aths. I mean also the Oakland A's. Every iteration of the Oakland franchise, there's never been a player to get a bigger contract. I dare you to remember 20 years ago who got the biggest contract. It's sort of like in the old days when the Pirates had Kendall as their biggest contract, and people were like, Kendall? Why Kendall? And I'm like, because they got a new stadium and they felt like they had to spend money on their catcher at the time. Well, in Oakland, the biggest contract was with this guy, Eric Chavez. He was good, don't get me wrong. A well above average Major League Baseball player. In 2004, he got $66 million from the Oakland Moneyballs. That's it. No one's been higher ever since. I'm of the opinion you sign guys to higher deals and then trade them because then your organization is not amongst the list of people who don't give out high contracts. There should be a separate spreadsheet that the media can release, which is who pays for the big contracts that the small revenue teams sign to look cool and then end up moving those players along, like Texas did with A-Rod, like we did with Reyes, as an example, or Delgado. Numerous players. But anyway, why would it happen that the Sacramento Aths would want Severino at that number, which is such a gross overpay? He didn't have 3 years from anybody. I will bet you a donut to my dollar that he wasn't comparing 3-year deals. And the Aths went so far over the top past what anyone thought because they've got a couple of issues at play. One is a union issue. Every year, the union files a grievance against certain teams who are not properly using their revenue sharing money to improve their Major League Baseball product, their team. Every year, we'd have to submit, hey, here's our revenue sharing. Here's what we spent it on. Look at us go. We lost money, so we needed more revenue sharing. Our payroll was too high. The 1 year that we were forced to sign a player, we signed Josh Johnson. And we did that as a favor to the commissioner's office because they needed a pound of flesh from a team because the union was filing a grievance against so many teams. And we wanted to sign Josh Johnson anyway. And so it all, because he was going to be our opening day starter in our new ballpark, it all worked out perfectly. No issues. The Oakland I did it again. Actually, not again. That's the first time. 4869. The Aths needed to spend money, not just because of the union issue, but also they want to be seen as spenders in their new temporary city, Sacramento, and that it's not business as usual. And that's why we had to leave Oakland. We couldn't sign players like this. Now that we've left them, the checkbook's open. Things are going to be totally different in Sacramento and in Vegas, I promise you. What a perfect opportunity. How do we get a player to play in Sacramento? There are all sorts of articles were written. Who would want to go to Sacramento? Who would want to play in Steinbrenner Field all year long in Tampa? Who would want that? Never been a player. Never. Not one. I don't care what they tell you on their social media or publicly or privately. If you want to overpay in years and total dollars, the players will play in Scranton. And I would too. This is not me saying players shouldn't do it. If I'm Luis Severino and I'm offered 67 over 3 by the Aths, I don't need to visit the new makeshift clubhouse in the outfield in Sacramento. I don't need to meet the realtor to look for a place to live. I don't need to ask what's happening with the Vegas ballpark. I don't need anything. Funny coincidence. If the Vegas ballpark opens on time in 28, here's who won't be your opening day starter, Luis Severino. Coincidence? 3 years? The same 3 years they're going to be in Sacramento for the 5, 6, and 7, 25, 26, 27 seasons? There's no coincidences in Major League Baseball or in any business. There's always a backstory.